Right, I think I'm live. Hello, everybody, after a 4-month break, I think. And welcome to yet another PrestaShop Project live update. My name is Christian Podemski. I work with PrestaShop as a tech evangelist for the PrestaShop project. And I'm the only speaker today. Well, maybe apart from my colleague out there who recently lost his job. So if you know something, his name is Preston. Do let me know, okay? So, like I said, we are back after a few months break. Basically, we were quite busy with some other things. So, yeah, we needed that little break. And today I'm getting back to you with a bit of a different format, I would say, because I didn't prepare any presentation for you. I do have some subjects listed for you uh, to show you. So we will go through them. We will talk about PrestaShop 8.2, about PrestaShop Project Newsletter, which is our new initiative. We will talk about PrestaShop Developer Conference version 9 that is highly anticipated. And I also will take a look at the developer documentation and the changes there. So today's live update will be all about some news from the project, some ongoing subjects that I would like to share with you. If you just could let me know if you can hear me well and everything is working fine, because it's been a while, so I'm not sure if everything works correctly. So maybe let me know in the comment section. Hopefully everything is right and you can hear me. So let me jump into the first subject, which is PrestaShop 8.2. So it's been a while. So let me check something. Okay, so I didn't have presentation for you, but I do have screen recording enabled. So today we will do something different. Nice to see you as well, Marco. So it's been a while. So in today's live update, I will do things a bit different than usual. So I won't go through the presentation. I will be live streaming my screen so we can go through some project news. I will show you back office of PrestaShop 9. I will show you developer documentation and some other things that I would like to present to you. And we are starting from PrestaShop 8.2, which was released a little over a month ago. And to some of you, it might be surprising that it's been decided to release PrestaShop 8.2 because the original release schedule supposed to have PrestaShop 8.0, PrestaShop 8.1, and the next version is supposed to be version 9. But it's important to emphasize that those guidelines that are on the or plans that are on the release schedule are not set in stone. Like there are things happen that we didn't anticipate, and it's been decided to release a new minor version for PrestaShop 8, which is PrestaShop 8.2. So everything regarding this version is, of course, in the release notes, but there are some improvements that I would like to talk to you as well during the live update. First of all, this version has been marked as a minor version because of some changes regarding the card presenter and how card is rendered to the front office. Everything important is, of course, described in the release notes, and there are links to pull requests that implemented those changes. So for those of you who, for example, encounter any issues with card rendering in PrestaShop 8.2, you can follow the text in the release note, you can follow some pull requests and so on to see all the details of the implementation. What's also important is that after the release of PrestaShop 8.1, there were some questions like, what did you do it? Like, why did you release new minor version, even though this release schedule that you now can see on your screen didn't anticipate any 8.2 version. So we edited this page with an important note to emphasize that, like I said, those are only guidelines, those are only plans that we try to follow, but things happens, some new feature opportunities might happen. There are some critical things that we would like to do. So the reschedule that we present there is only our idea of what the future holds. We try to follow it, but sometimes we can't. So that's what I wanted to emphasize. It's very important to understand that very often we talk about guidelines and plans or some ideas, but those, may change. So what about PrestaShop 8.2? First of all, I think we should talk about improvements, and there are some very interesting improvements to PrestaShop 8.2. For example, now in PrestaShop 8.2, your overrides, or maybe not yours, but overrides of some of the modules that you would like to install, will be correctly checking. And what I mean by that is that before this version, when you installed a module with overrides, they were checked, but eventually module was installed anyway. It wasn't enabled, it wasn't like displayed in your front office or back office, but in the database everything basically showed that the module has been installed already, which could cause some conflicts, could cause some issues with data integration and so on and so forth. So one of the PrestaShop team members fixed this, and now there are overrides. Overrides are checked correctly. If there are conflicts in overrides, if there are any issues with overrides, the module installer will fail and will show you a relevant message that overrides cannot be installed because the module has been already overridden, or some methods from the overrides have been already overridden. Also, apart from the fact that it's now more reliable, it's also a better mechanism thanks to the changes that were introduced in this pull request. So, for instance, the better check for static constants and so on and so forth. Full details, as explained, are linked into the release notes. So you can check pull request in details. You can check all the code changes. You can see that it's not that the new feature or improvements was added and that's it. There are also test modules to assure that everything is working correctly from version to version. So definitely it's a nice addition, and it will help with overrides and with, well, making sure that what you have installed is really what you have installed, not like that you have some artifacts in the database. Other than correctly checking overrides, we have some other improvements. For example, those two things, new hook, action, front controller set variables before, is quite useful hook when you want to override variables that goes as a global variables to your front office, but you want to do it instead of PrestaShop core. So for example, you want to assign cart object or customer object, which is not assigned by PrestaShop, but by your mechanism that are, for example, better cached or something like this. There are also other changes, like, for example, introduction of cart lazy array, and that's the change that basically forced us to release PrestaShop 8.2. So to follow semantic versioning, we were forced to release new minor version thanks to this change. Also, there are some improvements from the community, like, for example, this one, if I remember correctly, comes from Dominic from Czech Republic, owner of, I think, the biggest hosting company in Czech Republic. So he reported that the repli2 parameter, if the repli2 parameter is equal to the recipient, then the email will have a lower spam scoring. So there will be a higher chance for this email for this message to be treated as a spam. So it's no longer possible to set the repli2 parameter equal to the recipient, so to the to parameter. And of course, you can see full list of improvements on GitHub when you filter by milestone, for example, or better by label. You can see that there are improvement labels anywhere there. So you can see which pull requests were marked as an improvement. Of course, like with almost every new version, it's not only about improvements and new features, it's also about bug fixes. So there's quite a few bug fixes in PrestaShop 8.2. Some of them are really important and basically um, should force you to update to PrestaShop 8.2 basically. So, for example, one of the Presta crew members noticed that some data from database on PrestaShop on PHP 8.1 has a different return type than it was in the previous versions, which caused some issues with comparison. So, for example, 1 wasn't equal to 1 because one side of the comparison was integer and one side of the comparison was, for example, integer. So quite a tricky issue, but he managed to discover it and fix it. Also, there is a fix for duplicate customers. Sometimes it was possible to have customers have duplicated customer accounts, and I think it was related to one of the features that Halftalks Daniel implemented, but he managed to fix it as well. It's also good to mention Code and Code, who is on a mission of fixing product customizations in PrestaShop. So there's quite a few pull requests coming from Code and Code that are important for those of you who use, or for those of you who have customers who use product customizations. Like I said, there's quite a few fixes coming from Code and Code. So definitely, if you are on PrestaShop 8.1, it's worth upgrading to PrestaShop 8.2. You may also have question, what about PrestaShop 8.1? Well, following our release schedule and like the guidelines we have, PrestaShop 8.1 is no longer supported. The only official PrestaShop 8 version fully supported is PrestaShop 8.2 now. Fortunately, upgrading from PrestaShop 8.1 to PrestaShop 8.2 shouldn't be hard. So basically, if your merchant, if your customer, if you have store on PrestaShop 8.1, you should update to PrestaShop 8.2 as soon as possible. It shouldn't be that hard. There are no breaking changes, there are no impactful changes in this version, which could, create some conflicts, create some issues in the modules and so on. So everything should be fine. Also, the new auto upgrade module is much more stable. So, and I will talk about it later today. So yeah, everything should be fine. And in the release notes, as I already mentioned, there is information about the change to the release schedule. So basically, I think that sums up as what happened with PrestaShop 8.2. There is milestone for PrestaShop 8.2.1 already. So if we filter by pull requests for 8.2.1, I think there's quite a few already. There's 9 match pull requests. Okay, so that basically means that PrestaShop 8.2.1 is not on the schedule for the release right now, because I don't see any critical bug fixes. I don't see any pull requests that have to be released as soon as possible. All right. So yeah, I think that sums up PrestaShop 8.2. Let me check to my notes if there's something else that I would like to show you about PrestaShop 8.2. No, I don't think so. So PrestaShop 8.2 available. You can easily upgrade using auto upgrade module, and all the details, as always, are available on the build PrestaShopProject.org. So now let's switch to another subject that I would like to show you, which is PrestaShop Project Newsletter. A few days ago, we decided to announce a new initiative, which is basically an idea of having newsletter, but not a newsletter that we have already at PrestaShop, like where we have information focused for merchants, for agencies, and so on and so forth. This newsletter will be for the project community, and it will be the mostly or only technical newsletter we have at PrestaShop. So you can expect information about the core releases, core changes to the core, about new native modules, changes to the native modules. We would like to also have a section where we showcase community projects. So if you happen to have PrestaShop related open source project and would like us to showcase this in our newsletter, maybe even during live update or on the build blog, reach out to me on Slack and we will discuss it. There are plenty of community projects out there. I can think of Falcon, I can think of page builder that is recently very popular in our community. I think it's called Pretty Boxes or something like this. So if any of you would like to come to the live update or even write a guest article on the build blog, let's do it. Let's do it something like this. I know there are some modules, like for example, there is a module to scan vulnerabilities from Friends of Presta Security website to tell you which modules are affected in your PrestaShop installation. So we would like to show you this project as well, this module as well. So yeah, I think newsletter will give us a better means to communicate with you directly. It will help you stay up to date with the project. You won't be, you won't need to watch live updates, or you won't need to, for example, read all the articles or visit the blog all the time. You will have one email which summarizes all the changes from PrestaShop project, like all the articles that have been published on the blog, all the live updates that are coming, and from the past, all the events that are from the community and from the company, and so on and so forth. So that would be a way for us to communicate with you better. Other than that, PrestaShop company sponsors start of this newsletter. So not only by subscribing you will have a better chance to stay up to date with the project, there are also some additional incentives to subscribe to this newsletter. So as I said, PrestaShop SA sponsors start of this newsletter, even though this newsletter is for PrestaShop project. But if you subscribe to the newsletter before the developer conference, which I must emphasize is also the reason why we decided to start the newsletter now, because we think it's a great time for PrestaShop technical community, not only to have PrestaShop developer conference, but also to launch a new initiative target to PrestaShop technical community. So if you subscribe to the PrestaShop project newsletter before the developer conference, you will have a chance to win either two vouchers for, even a voucher for €100 for PrestaShop Marketplace, or a voucher for a free annual subscription to PrestaShop Academy, or 25% of training sessions that are available on PrestaShop Academy. So quite a few very interesting prizes for you to win. Only thing you need to do is subscribe to PrestaShop Project Newsletter. And as I said, it's not only about those prizes. Like, they are fun, they are great, and we are very happy that PrestaShop SA decided to sponsor this newsletter. But it's mostly because I firmly believe that this newsletter will give us a great chance to help you stay up to date with the project, to help you know what's going on when it comes to the technicality of the PrestaShop core and so on. Like I said, this newsletter is focused on the technical community and technical community only. So, yeah, big plans for the PrestaShop Project newsletter. If you haven't subscribed, I highly encourage you to do so. And now I think we can smoothly go to yet another announcement, or even not really announcement, but reminder that PrestaShop Developer Conference is on November 6th in Paris, in Digital Village. So I thought that it would be interesting to show you the current agenda, and I'm talking current agenda because we still do a little, changes to the agenda. There are still some moving subjects, mostly to to the time of the talk and so on and so forth, like tiny details that we need to figure out. But there are quite a few talks already on the program. So if you go to Paris, make sure to follow the changes at the agenda on the events website. But for all of you, I would like to do a little overview of what we plan to offer you if you happen to be in Paris on the developer conference. So as you can see on the screen, we start at 9 a.m. Like I said, in Paris, November 6th, Digital Village. Then we'll have a keynote from Olivier. It's in French, but I'm sure that there will be occasion for you, for every one of you, to also hear from Olivier in English during the Q&A session and so on. So don't worry. There will be also a talk from Juliette Gori, who is lead of the PrestaShop Experts program. And this is because this event is not only about open source PrestaShop project and so on. This event is for technical community at PrestaShop, for PrestaShop technical community. Yes, that's the word. That's the sentence. PrestaShop technical community, also including agencies who were not happy that there wasn't any session for them during the last developer conference that we organized. So there is now a dedicated session to agencies during the developer conference as well. We will have a pleasure to have Jonathan Dance on stage, on the main stage this time, to present the new API that is coming to PrestaShop 9. I know Jonathan is actively blogging now. So he, for example, translated the article I've written on the build blog to his blog. He added some details on how to work with API. So this will be occasion for Jonathan to also talk live to all of you about how to use the new API. So very interesting from Jonathan to decide to speak at the conference again, and everyone is looking forward to seeing what he prepares. And fun fact, it's not the only presentation from Jonathan during the developer conference. So make sure to check Jonathan's presentation. Other than that, we have our partners from PackMind to talk about their solution, their ID. Then we have coffee break. Then in the tech room, so no longer at main stage, but still very interesting subject from Jonathan, Presta Edit. He will discuss workflows from GitHub, and if I recall correctly, this will be about making sure that your solution that you do for PrestaShop, like for example, PrestaShop modules, are compatible with a few versions at once. So very interesting subjects, and it's great to see Jonathan sharing his knowledge about PrestaShop, about how to become better PrestaShop developer. And I promise you that I will try to work with Jonathan to have their presentations, to have his presentations either as an article on the build blog in English, or maybe he decides to join us during the live update. So stay tuned. On that, we will have a representative of Belvg agency, Alexandre, and he will talk about GitLab CI as a tool for code deploy. So it's a similar subject to what it was last year, and I think it was Waynet who presented the similar subject, and also there were some presentations from French-speaking agencies, French-speaking speakers. So this year we also have a dedicated session to GitLab and how to work with continuous integration. I think is great because you ask a lot of times on how to work with PrestaShop and how to manage CI and CD processes when you work with PrestaShop. So it's great to see experienced developers sharing their knowledge, like Jonathan talking about CI and using GitHub workflows. We have Alexandre talking about GitLab CI. So it's great. Then we'll have a talk from Profilo. We'll have that's quite a big news, because we will have Friends of Presta representatives also speaking during the PrestaShop Developer Conference. And my understanding is that they will try to convince you to contribute to PrestaShop more. But jokes aside, I think it will be about how to go your contribution from A to Z, how to make sure that what you contributed goes to the core or goes to the module or whatever. So it's great to see them. It will be great to see them on the stage. There will be talk from Thibaut about technical details of rebranding for the PrestaShop back office. This one is also interesting because it's not only about changing the look of back office, it's also about how he managed to improve extensibility of the back office theme, default theme of the back office now. How he managed to utilize PrestaShop UI kit with the new version and so on. Then lunch break, and then we have really interesting session coming from Thomas from Invertus Agency. Thomas was with us last year at the conference. He will be again at the conference this year, so it's fantastic. He had a really great presentation last year, and this year it's also a very interesting presentation about API first PrestaShop experience. So yeah, it sounds great, and it also follows the subjects that are very much anticipated by the community of developers, like how to work with PrestaShop and Next.js and so on and so forth. I see question from Conju: will these speeches be recorded? There are no plans to record the speeches, but I know that many of you cannot attend the conference in Paris. I know that some of the sessions will be in French. So what we plan to do is we will work with all the speakers from the conference, with all the people who present something at the conference, and we will try to create content from their presentations. So that's why I said we will reach out to Jonathan, we will reach out to Thomas and all the other speakers to create content for you to present during live update on the build blog and so on. So stay tuned, subscribe to newsletter, because there will be information about it as well. And now I will follow. I will continue to overview an agenda of the developer conference. We will have quite interesting, although quite I would say interesting and very specific session from 202 Commerce, because it will be about tagging your e-commerce website. And this is really interesting subject, because as a developers, we often use modules, we often use different tools to make sure that tagging is correct on the merchant's websites. So it will be interesting to see 202 e-commerce approach to this subject, especially since they are experts in matter, because they have a lot of tools to prove their expertise in tracking and in this subject. Then we'll have a session from Clement, who is author of PrestaShop Flashlight, and I think we had a pleasure to have Clement on during the live update already to present PrestaShop Flashlight. But since then there's like, I don't know, 1 year ago, it was like 1 year ago or so. So it will be a great occasion for him to share with the audience updates on PrestaShop Flashlight and how the tool looks now in 2024. Then we'll have Matthias presenting PrestaShop UI kit, which is widely used at the PrestaShop company, and that is also open source UI library coming from PrestaShop, which you can utilize in your modules. It works with Vue.js and so on. Then we'll have very interesting session from the CEO of Waynet, from Łukasz Janik. And Łukasz will be speaking about Varnish cache and how to improve PrestaShop performance with Varnish. So I know Wayland has their own module, if I recall correctly, for Varnish. So I assume that Łukasz will be speaking about their solution and their approach on how to speed up PrestaShop's websites on using Varnish. So really interesting. Then we have TouchWeb, and Vincent from TouchWeb will talk about cybersecurity and how to um, take care of security in your organization, your in your e-commerce store, without having a lot of money to spend on the mother. Then we will have a presentation of PrestaShop checkout, yet another coffee break. Then we'll have two developers from PrestaShop crew, from PrestaShop company, talking about acceptation test. It's also a very interesting subject, and it will show you what is our approach, what is approach of this team to acceptance test when it comes to creating solutions for PrestaShop. Both of those developers are coming from team working with billing platform for PrestaShop. So, for example, how you subscribe to PrestaShop services and so on. Then we'll have one of the most important talks, I think, to me, specifically, for example, when it comes to developer conference, because it will be talk from Jarek, who is lead product manager for the seamless upgrade and extensibility team at PrestaShop company. And along with Alexis and Thomas, they will be presenting a new version of Auto Upgrade module and the changes that were implemented in the V6 of Auto Upgrade. And again, this talk will be in French during the PrestaShop Developer Conference, but I'm sure that we will have occasion to invite Jarek and Alexis and Thomas for the live update to present this same subject for you during the live update. And as I said, this is really an important subject because upgrades are quite a pain point in our ecosystem, and they are doing an amazing job on how to upgrade. And I will also speak about how to upgrade later today. Then we will have session coming from two of the DevOps coming from PrestaShop company, and they will tell you more details about how they manage infrastructure at PrestaShop. So this will be quite technical session, although very interesting. So as you can see already, plenty of interesting talks. I'm really looking forward to working with all the speakers to also get you them, to invite them to do live updates, so and to invite them to write articles on the build blog, so we can not only have the content in French but also translate it to English, so we can share with the whole community content from the PrestaShop Developer Conference. It's the last call to register for the PrestaShop Developer Conference. So if you are based in France, if you work with PrestaShop, if you can afford to visit France, to visit Paris and join PrestaShop Developer Conference, and if you work with PrestaShop, either if you create modules, either if you work with clients, well, it's #1 event to attend to. So register and just come visit Presta crew and the rest of the speakers on the PrestaShop Developer Conference in Paris. Last but not least, not at the end of, sorry, it's like it's the last session, but it's a special one because it will be Q&A session with the PrestaShop team, with CTO Olivier, with CPO Clement, and with Managing Director of PrestaShop Eric. They will be answering your questions. And let me tell you, Developer Conference is great occasion to ask questions, even those harder ones. And these guys are not afraid of asking any of those questions. So believe me, even last year there was a great discussion about PrestaShop, about the future of PrestaShop, and it's a great occasion not only during Q&A session but during the day to ask Presta crew about all the things PrestaShop, ask our comics about PrestaShop and so on. So it's a great day. It will be a great day of networking, of great presentations. So yeah. And last but not least, from the more like content related things, we will have a prize draw for those who subscribe to the PrestaShop Project Newsletter. Like I said, there are some prizes to win if you subscribe to the PrestaShop Project Newsletter. So the draw of the prizes will be during the developer conference, and not only that, it not only be on stage of during the PrestaShop developer conference, it will also be streamed live on our X account, X/Twitter account of the PrestaShop project. So I'm now sharing with you on the chat link to our X account on our PrestaShop project account on X/Twitter, so you can follow it. And there will be live stream of this prize draw during the developer conference. It will be around 6 p.m. on November 6th. So yeah, I think it will be fun. There's also cocktail and networking, and I think that's some mistake because it just duplicated talk from 202. So as you can see, we have really strong agenda during the developer conference. And as I said, if you are in France, if you can travel to Paris, if you can afford to fly to Paris, if you work with PrestaShop and you are interested in what the future holds, if you want to discuss with your peers about PrestaShop, it's the best occasion to do that. And now I think we can move to another subject that I wanted to show you. So we discussed PrestaShop 8.2. I told you already about PrestaShop Project Newsletter. I told you about the developer conference. Now let's talk about PrestaShop 9. So PrestaShop 9, which I have there. All right, this is PrestaShop 9. I won't go through, all the features and so on, but I think it's important to keep you excited that PrestaShop 9 is coming soon. So after releasing alpha, the team continued to work on continued working on the new version. So in the past few weeks, you probably have seen some changes already. And one of the biggest changes is definitely rebranded back office. So there won't be like, black back office for some version and black back office and white back office or light colored back office for some other version. There will be unified branding as we announced a few months ago. PrestaShop project follows branding from PrestaShop company. So now for the PrestaShop that you download from GitHub, there is a new branding, and it's not only that the colors were changed and so on. A lot of bugs have been fixed, a lot of code have been improved, a lot of features have been improved when it comes to how back office is rendered. So it was a big project. It is a big project. So if you have occasion to test PrestaShop 9, make sure to also test back office, how it works, how it looks on mobile devices, on PC, on Mac, or whatever, with the rebranding. Because like I said, that was quite a big project, a lot of changes, even pull requests that introduced the new branding. I think it had like 300 files or 500 files. I don't know. I don't remember, but reviewing it was really difficult. But like I said, a lot of changes. So now we have unified look of the back office of PrestaShop through all the versions. Other than that, of course, in PrestaShop 9, we will have the new admin API, which is available right here to configure it. And there's also quite a lot of work, done quite a lot of work right now on the new API and new API endpoints that will be available for you to use starting from PrestaShop 9. There is this new look of the back office. It's worth Noting that PrestaShop 9 is now based on Symfony 6.4, as you can see here. Also from what we announced already, PrestaShop 9 will be compatible with PHP 8.1, 8.2, and 8.3. And there's quite a lot of technical changes, I would say, quite a lot of changes under the hood, but also quite a lot of improvements to the software. And that's largely thanks to our amazing community. So I could think of Daniel Haftox. I could think of his friend Dominic from Czech Republic. I could think of Code and Code, Tunisoft, and a lot of other contributors who made PrestaShop 9 better. V9 has also improved security. There are some more strict rules when it comes to how you code your modules. And that's also thanks to friends of to guys from Friends of Presta, who basically, I would say, lead the project of security in our community nowadays. And they helped to implement some of the changes to how the core is working with modules and how to secure them better. So quite a lot of changes under the hood. So we will be creating a full summary of changes coming to PrestaShop 9 in a more readable form very, very soon. But we also work on the documentation, which I will show you in the moment, and so on and so forth. So I think it's worth informing you that we've created a new branch on the PrestaShop repository. So now, of course, develop branch is the main one, but there's also PrestaShop 9.0x branch. What it means is that it's not feature freeze yet. I know it's a bit different from what it was some time ago, but 9.0x doesn't mean that we are in the feature freeze phase, not yet. But if you want your change to be available on PrestaShop 9.0, you should definitely target this branch in your contributions. The develop branch now is now exclusively for PrestaShop 9.1 or 10, who knows? Plans are just plans, right? So it's very important. If you have any pull requests opened and you target the develop branch, please rebase your changes onto 9.0x branch so your changes could be available on PrestaShop 9.0. It's also important for bug fixes, and there's still time to add, for example, new hooks, new features, to change some stuff in PrestaShop 9. Like I said, we are not in the feature freeze phase yet. So, but believe me, it's the last call to make any bigger changes to PrestaShop 9. And I think that would be it when it comes to PrestaShop 9. Like I said, a few news of, what is the current state, where are we going, and so on and so forth. When it comes to the date, there's no estimated time of arrival for ETA for PrestaShop 9. It will be released when it will be ready. To remind you, the only official version will be available on PrestaShop.com, but you can, of course, build your own distribution from the sources. And what is also important is that there's quite a big chance for us to release beta version somewhere in November. At least that's what the plan says. What it will be in reality, we will see. But expect more news very soon. And if you work with PrestaShop, if you create modules, if you create themes, please do download PrestaShop sources. Please do build your own distribution, test your solutions, because there's massive amount of changes in PrestaShop 9. I see a question from Vianney, if I pronounce correctly. At the end of the video, could we ask questions about PrestaShop, for example, when we will get back stock management and so on and so forth? Vianney, you know what? There is a Q&A session at the end, but you can feel free to ask any questions right now, so I can, get back to them later. But if you have any questions, just ask them on the chat, and I will try to answer. Like I said, today is a little bit of freestyle, me talking to you about some things that are, I believe, quite interesting if you work with PrestaShop. If not, I'm sorry. That's all what I prepared today. So yeah, if you have any questions, just ask them on the chat and I will try to answer them. So I think that would be it for PrestaShop 9. And I did mention to you that PrestaShop 9 has a lot of changes under the hood, a lot of breaking changes, a lot of deprecations removed. So yeah, quite a lot of changes. So if you are a solution author, you have to follow this page, which is called Notable Changes in PrestaShop 9.0. This page is quite long already, as you can tell. It's quite a long page, and there are some very important things there, like, for example, let me find it. Removed tools display number and display tools price. I think if you create modules for PrestaShop, you know what that means. So a lot of code that has been deprecated for many years is now removed from PrestaShop 9. So you will have to adapt your solution to make them compatible with PrestaShop 9. We did our best to list all the changes on this page, but we are only humans. We couldn't ask AI to prepare such page for us, so you have to trust us that we did our best to list all the things that we know about that may impact your solutions. So please, if you work with PrestaShop solutions, if you create modules, if you plan to upgrade to PrestaShop 9, you have to read this page. You have to provide us with feedback if something is not listed there and it impacted your solution while you tested it. It's really important for entire community to work together so we can have the best documentation possible. And on top of that, we would like to create migration guides and so on and so forth. But we do have some solutions to base on to test. I do have my modules myself, but yeah, not everything can be easily tested. So, and I'm sure you have a lot of solutions for your clients which are not being sold on any marketplace and so on. So if you plan to migrate to PrestaShop 9, if you are, for example, on 1.7 and you plan to work with PrestaShop 9 because you want to upgrade to this version, it's very important to check your solutions against the PrestaShop 9 code base. And as I explained also a moment ago, there is a new admin API available in PrestaShop 9. And I did create the user guide for it already. If I recall correctly, we can find it. We couldn't find it. Well, demo effect, I would say. Okay. It seems our Algolia search doesn't work, or it doesn't work for me. Anyway, I already written an article introducing you to PrestaShop API, to the new PrestaShop admin API. It is here. Yeah, so this is like a quick start guide, like what to do to start with the new API. It doesn't, include all the details of what's under the hood, what's our approach to integrate API platform to the core of PrestaShop, and how we authorize, clients and so on and so forth. But Jonathan, who is tech lead at the core team at PrestaShop SA, did create such documentation. So there was a very detailed documentation of how admin API works under the hood. So if you are interested in checking all the details of what have been done, what's been done with admin API, how it's been implemented, make sure to check this documentation. It's also there's also a chapter to show you how to use it. There's also useful table with some terminology. There's also quite interesting thing, which is automatically generated Swagger documentation. So you can see what are the currently implemented endpoints to the PrestaShop admin API. I'm not sure whether this list is up to date. I think it is now because I sent the message to Jonathan and I think he did it manually because I see some endpoints that I didn't see before. So you can see Swagger documentation to see the currently implemented endpoints to the API. And this documentation will be automatically updated, I think, once a day. So as I told you already, PrestaShop 9 has a lot of changes under the hood, and it's really important for you to follow developer documentation. We don't normally communicate about all the changes regarding developer documentation, but if you subscribe to the newsletter, if you follow live updates, if you follow our blog, it will be much easier for you to stay up to date. Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. So yes, the automatic update of the API doc is already in place. Awesome, great. Okay, so I think that would be it when it comes to the developer documentation. And very often I do mention upgrading to PrestaShop 9, switching to PrestaShop 9, and so on and so forth. And you might ask, okay, but upgrades are not stable. How do I upgrade? Whether it's better to migrate your data or not? Well, the good news is that, as I told you before, we have really a great team fully focused on making upgrades better in the PrestaShop ecosystem for the PrestaShop core. And not only for the core, but they are now focused on PrestaShop core, and they do release new versions of auto upgrade quite often. They do communicate about it also on our build blog. So make sure to see the release notes of PrestaShop auto upgrade module v6.1 and v6.2. There's quite a few changes already in the module, but what's more interesting is that there is v7 version coming from this team, and it will blow your mind, really, because it will be a completely new approach to PrestaShop updates. And hopefully this version will be ready for the PrestaShop 9 release date, so you can upgrade to PrestaShop 9 from previous versions with getting fewer gray hairs on your head, if you have any. But yeah, they are doing an amazing job. They fixed a lot of issues that were very problematic for a long time already, like, for example, doctrine migrations and a few others. So yeah, kudos to this team because they are doing an amazing job. Everyone at PrestaShop is doing their best to improve upgrades, to improve code base of the core, to improve everything what we can improve to make the PrestaShop best in class. Simple as that. So if you upgrade to PrestaShop 9, if you upgrade from PrestaShop 1.7 to 8, do use the newest version of auto upgrade because it's really a stable module now. You shouldn't have any issues with it anymore. If you do have any, you can always join PrestaShop GitHub, PrestaShop repository, and create a new issue to report a bug with the upgrade process. If you provide all the details of what went wrong, then the team responsible for auto upgrade module might help you fix those issues. And yeah, 54 minutes of freestyle of me talking about PrestaShop, and I think that's all what I prepared for you. Now we could focus on Q&A session, I think. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. So let me check chat because I think I saw some questions already. Vianney, when will be stock management with location and warehouses back? I don't think this will be part of the core. It will be removed. It was removed on purpose from PrestaShop 1.7, if I recall correctly, or in V8, and it was done on purpose simply because the number of people who use this feature was so low that it wasn't really make sense for us to maintain this feature, especially since it's quite a complicated one. And I think the best decision to make was to get rid of this mechanism and do what's possible for module developers to create their own solution. Sometimes you have to make some unpopular decisions to reassure everyone that the rest of the system is correctly maintained, and so we can focus on more important, more useful for our merchants and developers features. And yeah, but I'm sure there are solutions in the community. So yeah, and I see that you also did mention that e-commerce solution without stock management is the only e-commerce solution without stock management. I don't think that's true, because we do have stock management, but we don't have multiple warehouses stock management, which is not the case for any e-commerce solution. And every agency I asked about this told me we moved away or we created custom solutions. And that's true. That's the spirit. That's the magic of open source, of having the means to create your own solution. And there are some modules already for PrestaShop to bring that feature back. So there is also a question. We're talking about community, but most questions are not answered on Slack. Would it be possible for PrestaShop to give a few hours a week to senior devs to answer the questions? I don't think most questions aren't answered. If there are any, maybe ping me. Maybe I didn't notice them. I trying to do my best to answer some of the questions on Slack, but eventually it's a community tool. It's open source. Like, you could ask questions on Facebook group, on GitHub discussions, on Slack, but we are not obligated to answer to you. That's first. Secondly, maybe your question is difficult to answer. Maybe it takes too much time for others to answer your question. So I'm sorry. You can ping me in the question you asked that weren't answered, but I'm sure that we all doing our best. Although it's not possible, and I think I already answered to somebody that it's not possible for us to offer consultations for the community as part of the core team. It's not possible. I'm checking if there are any more questions. Marco did mention office hours, and yeah, there was initiative called office hours. So basically, the idea was to discuss subjects that were previously submitted or requested to discuss by the community. The problem was that there were so few subjects to discuss that we decided to put office hours on hold. If there are people interested in getting back this initiative, in bringing back this initiative, we might consider it, but it has to work in a way where we discuss subjects that were submitted before, so everyone can prepare and everyone can know what to deal with. It's much easier than to follow some flexible agenda. Okay, so thank you, Marco, for helping answering to Vianney. I didn't see more questions unless there are some other. I can wait a few more minutes. And yeah, we do have quite a few communication channels open. We do have GitHub discussions. So if you go to PrestaShop discussion, you can ask questions. You can, create feature requests. You can even showcase your projects. And like I said, we are trying our best to answer some of the questions from the community, but sometimes it's just difficult to find time to tackle on some more complicated subjects. We all trying our best, but eventually Slack, GitHub discussions, even here chat on YouTube, those are also tools for community to communicate with each other. Right. So a little over an hour after a few months break of speaking PrestaShop with my jobless friend. So thank you all who joined. I hope you did like the format. I will try to prepare a little bit better for the next time. Maybe we will have more guests, especially since there will be occasion for those who spoke at the developer conference to present their subjects also during the live update. So I'm sure there will be a lot of content to share. So thank you very much for joining me, and hopefully see you next month, maybe somewhere at the end of November, I think. What I can promise you is that we are trying our best to produce more content. That's also why we decided to start initiative with the PrestaShop Project Newsletter. PrestaShop 9 is coming in a few months, so there will be plenty to speak about, plenty to write about. So yeah, to stay up to date, subscribe to our newsletter, follow our YouTube channel, follow the X account, X/Twitter. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing all of you next month. Thank you guys, and thank you everyone. Bye.